schools. A reminder, with me in studio is Reverend Mike Kuria, is an Anglican clergy. And before we took that break, we had looked at a few things, if it will work and if it will not. And we also looked at what the effect the government had on interference with the management of schools back in the days. And now we want to look at a few things what critics are saying. And critics of church schools argue that the religious foundation contributes little to the academic success. Is this true?
Well, that statement is neither here nor there. I just want to do a simple research. Look at the kind of students that were released into the job market in the early 80s and the late 90s, and compare them with those who have been released into the job market in 2005. There's a huge difference in terms of their character, in terms of the way they handle issues. Some of them, probably the only thing they have is knowledge. They do not have the wisdom to apply that knowledge rightly. And that is where we're saying, as a church, we are now coming in to, we are looking at the whole person. We're not just concentrating on the mind. We're concentrating on the soul. We're concentrating on the spirit. We are concentrating on the behavior. We are concentrating on your character. And so that statement, actually, it does not hold any water. Now, number two, what the church is coming in to do is to offer counseling and guidance. You get my point? And actually, this one cannot be overemphasized. Because students must be taught how to deal with their issues. Truth be told, we're living at very perilous times. And some of them are struggling with stress, panic attacks, depression. And it is these issues that are causing them to get into drugs, into bad company. And then it manifests in them banning schools and strikes and all this. And so if every school can afford a counselor who comes and begins to teach the students how to deal with their issues, they can be able to arrest those issues at a very tender age. And then now this student who has been helped becomes a peer counselor and a role model unto others, where we say each one reach one. You get my point? And so there is a ripple effect when we actually do this. Yes.
Now, there has been an uproar or differences with the institutions and our parents. Do you think there has been this problem, or there is poor parenting, that these students, whatever they behave or how they behave back in school is what they learned from home? Do you think there's a problem with the parenting?
I agree 100%. You see, children learn more by what they see than what they hear. What they see in their houses, they will actually transfer it into schools. And that is why home is the first training ground for a kid. You get my point? If there is chaos in the house, in the family, then it will be reflected in the child's life in school. If there is violence in the house, trust you me, that kid, when he goes to school and is slightly or provoked by a certain individual or a fellow student, they will get violent on them. And I think parenting is very key. And that is why we are also calling upon the parents to take up their role to train these children. Unfortunately, we are living at a time where parents are very busy looking for, dollar. But why be busy looking for dollar and then lose your child? Now, treating addictions in this country is very expensive. Something that probably could have been avoided if you spent maybe 20 minutes with your child every single day. Is that too much for asking? It is not. You get my point? Some parents are actually absentee parents. So long as they provided money, clothes and everything, nimekuachia kila kitu. Let me tell you, at times it is not that which is needed. It takes a man to raise another man. And that is why even in this country, the boy child is in trouble because the father is not there. And so we need to go back. And I must also say that some institution like church, there are programs that teach parents, mothers and fathers, how to parent. And so people do not have an excuse. And if you want to save this generation, then it must start in our houses.
Yeah.
You must take it upon yourself. Unfortunately, what we are doing is that we are abdicating our parenting role to teachers and to churches. What we are doing is that we are cunningly, dumping them into schools, dumping them into churches. I mean, and throwing the ball to the parents' court. Rise up to the occasion and train that small child in the ways of the Lord.
Now, for the last 5 years or so, tuition was banned in this country, and even today the CS said the ban on tuition is still on. Now these kids are home. What is the church doing? Of
course, we have so many programs, and that is why I told you when I had that directive, I was like, this is an idea which is long overdue. So one of the things that we are doing is that we are offering what you're calling vocational Bible school. And in vocational Bible schools, we are teaching them on various skills, communication skills, how to resolve conflicts, how to ensure that your gifts, your talents, your abilities are used in a manner that glorifies God. We are looking at the holistic person. How do you handle your issues? We are teaching them how do you behave even in a group? We are teaching them how do you handle temptations? How do you say no? We are teaching them about sexuality. And sexuality among the young people, it's a key issue. And so we have a lot of these programs. In fact, in most of our churches, at least the church that I come from, we have them coming at least for 2 days, either on a Monday or on a Monday and a Thursday, and we just work with them. Number 2, we have what we call mentorship programs, where we don't just teach them Bible stuff. We are alive to the fact that we are in the world, and they also need some other skills. Let's say, for example, there is a kid who really desires to be a pilot. We get about 10 of them, and we get an established pilot to come and speak to them. I once read somewhere that the quickest way to get to where you want to be is by associating with people who are already there. We are linking them up to potential employers and potential mentors. So we have lots of programs that are ongoing. Yes.
Now, if the management of schools were reverted back to the churches, what strategies or policies do you think will best work, and in fact, what are they, apart from just what you mentioned?
Number 1, when the church has been given an opportunity to be in the board, then we are able to influence and come up with policies that will ensure that the holistic growth of a child has taken place. And so to me, I would go back to policies, where probably we say, once in a while, let us invite the parents, to come and spend a whole day with their students and their teachers and begin asking questions. Number 2, we will be strongly advocating that if a church can afford the services of a counselor, why not? I remember way back when I went to school, there was a full-time counselor. When you have your issues, you knew where to take them. But right now, when you have an issue in school, you take them to a fellow student. And what do they tell you? Manze niko na shada mahali, wako na straight, kuja kupiga hii shada. Now, when the administration finds you drinking smoking shada, they suspend you, they expel you. You get my point?
So it's a loss on top of a loss.
Absolutely. And number 3, the church will also be in a position to play the mediatory role. By mediatory role, I mean there are those moments that the students do not agree with teachers. There are those moments that the students do not see eye to eye with the administration. Now that is where the church comes in. And especially when the students are on Beba Matawi and they're like, oh, we do not want this principal, we do not want this teacher, the church comes in and says, what is the problem? Let us sit on the table, bring your issues, bring your grievances, and let us look at the best way that we can solve these problems. You see, it will also help them to have that mindset that I can be able to solve a problem. You don't solve a problem by strikes. You don't solve a problem by banning schools. And so we need to teach them these problem-solving skills. And so the church comes in those 3 areas: chaplaincy, guidance and counseling, and mediatory role.
Before I get your recommendations, should we go back to corporal punishment in schools?
You got me there. It's tricky, but from where I see it and the kind of things that I'm seeing, I would say a big yes.
All right.
I would
But
say a big yes.
before it was banned, parents would say mtoto wangu amechapa. Okay, honestly, kuna wenye walikuwa wanachapwa vibaya.
Yes.
How do you like this teacher had a problem with this kid? But now, if it goes back, what happens?
Of course, it has to be regulated. You know, there's a difference. What you're doing, I'm really talking about discipline. There's a huge difference between discipline and punishment.
Right.
And so the students should know that probably if you, I remember when us tukikuwa kwa class and you're caught noise making, you knew at least kulikuwa na viboko mbili.
Yeah.
And this viboko mbili was just to courteously remind you that it is bad behavior to make noise while still in class. You get my point?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I know there is the fear that some teachers can abuse that.
Right.
I'm alive to that fact. But at least it can be regulated.
All right.
Yeah? It shouldn't go to a certain extent.
All right.
Yes. But of course, I also realize that we also have other ways of disciplining children and not just using the cane. Right. And so we should explore the whole arena.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We are out of time here, but I need your recommendations as we finish. Your final words or thoughts.
My final word is that from where I sit, I'm very afraid that we are bringing up a generation that knows how to read, but that is all they know. You get my point?
Right.
And I think we all need to go back and begin playing our role. I look forward to a moment where the role of bringing up the child is not just relegated to the church alone or to the government alone. We all must play our role. The church must play its role, the government must play its role, and the parent must play its role. In fact, in order of priority, it begins with the parents, and then the church, and then the government. But let me tell you, in the absence of all these three things, we will keep on throwing blames at each other. And so I think all the stakeholders should sit down together and agree, where do we want to see our students? What kind of a student do we want to see? I want to see somebody who's gone through the Kenyan schooling system and comes out as a humble student, as an honest student, as a God-fearing student, as a person who is innovative and creative. But let me tell you, when we do not help them, we are going to suffer and to struggle later. And so it's an appeal to all of us, the parents, the church, and the government, you know, to actually take that role and help our students. Otherwise, we are bringing up a generation which, if we do not take care, in 15, 20 years' time, things will be bad. And so we have an opportunity right now to shape their destiny. Rise up to the challenge. We are in a position to do it. If not now, when? And if not us, who? Mimi, I'm ready. So thank you and God bless you.
All right, many thanks for coming. It has been a pleasure, and I understand it's a three-pillar thing: the parent, the school, and the government, or the church, that is. Many thanks for keeping us company back home. I'm hoping you have learned something, and now because your brother or your sister is back home, or your people are back home, I'm hoping you have learned something. That marks the end of our discussion tonight. Many thanks for keeping us company. And coming up next is Y Mashariki. I can see DJ TSK is very, very much ready for entertainment. DJ TSK.
Poa.
Arisha hapo, alafu hii umevaa leo?
Leo nimevaa stuff fulani inaitwa Scudi. Unajua Scudi?
Ati nini hiyo?
Scudi.
Scudi? Hiyo ndio inamaanisha?
Scarf na hoodie bado.
Okay. Ni ya baridi ama ni maridadi tu kujina?
Ni ya weather kai vile kuna jua, kuna taa kunyesha. Hakueleweki.
Okay, hii generation tuko na shida kibao. But anyway, stay tuned for Y Mashariki. He has been my guest, Mike Kuria, a reverend from Anglican Church from Nairobi Diocese. I'm the Reverend Hilary. Many thanks for keeping us company. Have a good night.